Hey guys, so you're watching this video to get some instructions on what you're going to do today for Independent EL and how it's going to set you up for success tomorrow making your Flipgrid video. So by now you've already found the assignment in Google Classroom titled Independent Work for Thursday. What you want to do is open up your Google Doc. This is where you're going to complete all your work, find the links, and set yourself up for a successful day tomorrow. So, scrolling down, you see the learning targets are, I can review the different events from each chapter of Esperanza Rising so far and identify my favorite chapter. I can prepare for tomorrow's end of unit news report by identifying which human rights violations upset me the most and why. So tomorrow you'll be recording a Flipgrid video of basically you're going to make a news report reporting on some human right violations in the book. And we've read the first 6 chapters now. So what you're doing today is reviewing all the different rights violations that happened in the chapters, picking the one that you want to talk about tomorrow, and then tomorrow you can record an amazing news report. So scrolling down, that's basically what these directions say. Just a little clarity here. So the directions say, read the anchor chart below, reviewing major events from each chapter from left to right. So for example, in this anchor chart, reading it from left, Las Uvas, all the way to the right, we have what chapter of Esperanza Rising, Las Uvas, description of the event and the quote from the text. On page 12, Mama tells Esperanza, the wealthy own most of the land while some of the poor have not even a garden plot. Some peasants are forced to eat cats. Which UDHR article does this connect to? Article 25, the right to food and shelter. Which characters does this affect? The workers who are paid very little. And so here's what you fill in. The very first one, I give you an example. But you'll see for all the other chapters, you type here, answering how were the characters' human rights threatened from that event. You'll see that all the chapters we've read so far is a space for you to type all the way on the right. So for example, from Las Uvas, this violates the workers' human rights to Article number 25 because they work so hard yet they are paid so little they can't even afford to buy food. This is a direct violation of their rights to food and shelter. Article number 25. So you want to go ahead and do the same thinking of how were their human rights threatened for different events from the different chapters. Some of these are repeats of what we have already talked about. So if you'd like to pick your own event, you can go ahead and delete this text and just type in what you want to talk about. For example, in this chapter here, Los Melones, we talk about how the border guards turned down people and made them go back. But let's say you want to talk about how some of the workers in the camp aren't given hot water, and some are, yet they don't tell everybody because they think they'd start complaining. So you could go ahead and delete all this text here, type in that quote, type in what page it was on, and tell us which article does it violate, who does it violate for, and type your response right over here, how it's a violation of their rights. You can pick whichever events you want from each chapter or talk about the ones that are already here in the anchor chart. Let's move on to part 2. Part 2 is just 2 quick questions to help you think about what you want to talk about in your news report tomorrow. The first one, you have some sentence stems, says, now that you have reviewed some of the human right violations that happened in the story, which upset you the most and why? Fill in the blanks below or start your own paragraph. So, the human rights violation that upset me the most was in chapter, let's say I want to talk about Las Uvas. I type here. Or I can just start my own paragraph below. But you want to make sure which of the chapters do you want to talk about and which one made you think the most or got you the most interested. Second question, which chapter will you make your news report about tomorrow and why? So go back and think about, well, here's everything we talked about in the chapters. Which one do I want to make a news report on? Which one do I think is the most important to tell people about and why? Make sure you've met all parts of the CFS, and don't forget to submit on Google Classroom. As always, guys, you can call me or Ms. Cruz if you have any EL independent work questions, and make sure you do a great job so you can make a really great news report tomorrow. See you soon.